One text. Just 12 words. That's all it took to turn passion into obsession, and obsession into murder. Marcus, I can't do this anymore. Please don't come over. A breakup message, the kind millions of people send every day. But in the hands of a man who couldn't let go, those words became a death sentence. This is not just a story about love gone wrong. It's a story about how a seemingly ordinary relationship in a quiet Texas suburb spiraled into a nightmare of jealousy, control, and bloodshed. It's about Elena Vargas, a woman who wanted freedom, and Marcus Hale, a man who believed if he couldn't have her, no one could. And it all unraveled in less than 48 hours. But here's the chilling question. Did Marcus plan this all along? Or was it truly a crime of passion, an uncontrollable explosion of rage in the heat of heartbreak? As we dig deeper, you'll see the cracks in their love story, the signs no one wanted to believe, and the haunting aftermath of a murder sparked by nothing more than a text message. Stay with me. By the end, you may never look at a breakup message the same way again. What if the next "we're done" text you send becomes someone's breaking point? Let's uncover how Elena's goodbye turned deadly. Brookwood, Texas, was the kind of place people moved to when they wanted peace. Rows of two-story homes with trimmed lawns, neighbors who waved as they passed, children playing basketball in driveways. Crime was rare. Murders were unheard of. Which is why the events of September 14, 2021, sent shockwaves far beyond the quiet streets of this suburb. At the center of the tragedy was Elena Vargas, 31 years old. She worked as a paralegal for a mid-sized law firm in Austin. Independent, hard-working, and fiercely loyal, Elena was the kind of woman everyone described as bright but grounded. She had a close-knit family. Her parents lived only 15 minutes away, and her younger sister Sophia was her confidant. And then there was Marcus Hale, 33. A self-made contractor with a reputation for charisma and determination. He'd grown up in a working-class family and prided himself on building a small but successful home renovation business. On the surface, Marcus was charming. To friends, he seemed protective, devoted, even romantic. But behind closed doors, his relationship with Elena was turbulent. 5 years together had created a bond full of highs and lows. To outsiders, they were passionate. To insiders, it was clear. Marcus had a controlling streak that clashed with Elena's growing independence. Neighbors recalled late-night arguments, Marcus pacing outside Elena's townhouse, and the way his expression would darken if she spoke with other men. By late summer of 2021, Elena had had enough. She told Sophia she felt suffocated. She wanted to breathe again, to live without constant tension. And so, on that September evening, Elena decided to finally end things. Not with a dramatic confrontation. Not with a long drawn-out talk. She picked up her phone, typed a single message, and hit send. Marcus, I can't do this anymore. Please don't come over. I need to move on. Those words would be the last she ever said. But before we dive into the night of the crime, we need to understand how their relationship began. Because the seeds of this tragedy were planted years earlier, long before that final text. Sometimes love doesn't start dangerous. Sometimes it begins beautifully, until small cracks turn into earthquakes. Let's go back to the beginning of Elena and Marcus' love story. Elena and Marcus met in 2016 at a friend's housewarming party. Elena had just landed her paralegal position and was focused on building her career. Marcus was there with a coworker. He spotted her across the room, and from that moment, Elena was the only person he wanted to talk to. He was charming, funny, attentive. He remembered small details about her job, her favorite music, her love for hiking. Days later, flowers arrived at her office with a note. To the most captivating woman I've ever met. Dinner soon? It was the kind of romance Elena had only read about. Their early months together were electric. Marcus texted her good morning every day. He cooked dinner for her after long work hours. He whisked her away on surprise weekend trips. Elena felt seen, adored, cherished. Friends teased her that she was glowing. But passion can hide shadows. By year 2, cracks began to show. Marcus grew uneasy when Elena spent time with coworkers. If she didn't respond to a text quickly, he accused her of ignoring him. He once scrolled through her phone while she showered. When Elena confronted him, Marcus would apologize profusely, buy her gifts, and promise to do better. The cycle repeated. Tension, argument, apology, reconciliation. During the pandemic, their issues magnified. Marcus lost clients. Elena worked from home, craving space he couldn't give. Arguments grew louder. Marcus would sit outside her townhouse waiting for her to come home, claiming he just wanted to be near her. By summer 2021, Elena confided to her sister Sophia. I love him, but it feels like I can't breathe. I'm always on edge. I don't know who I am anymore. Sophia urged her to leave. Elena hesitated. 5 years is a long time. They'd planned a future. But by September she knew it was over. She just needed the courage to end it. And when she finally did, with that fateful text, Marcus' world shattered. So what happened next? What do you do when the person you love tells you it's over, and you can't accept it? For Marcus Hale, the answer was unthinkable. The text came at 7:14 p.m. on September 14, 2021. Marcus was sitting in his pickup truck outside a client's house, scrolling his phone when the screen lit up. He read the message once, then again, then again. His heart pounded. His chest tightened. To him, it wasn't just a breakup, it was betrayal. Neighbors later recalled seeing Marcus' truck parked outside Elena's townhouse around 9 p.m. One described the headlights cutting through the rain as if he'd been circling the block before finally pulling in. Inside, Elena was alone watching TV. She didn't expect Marcus to come. She'd made it clear, don't come over. But when the pounding on her door started, her stomach dropped. Open up, Elena. Marcus' voice thundered. She froze. Then cautiously she cracked the door. What happened next unraveled in minutes. Witnesses later said they heard raised voices. Shouting. A crash. Then silence. At 10:12 p.m., a neighbor called 911 after hearing a scream. When police arrived, they found Elena lying motionless in her living room, a deep wound to her chest. A shattered lamp lay nearby. Her phone was on the floor, screen cracked, still lit with the last text she had sent. Marcus was gone. For hours, no one knew where he was. His truck was missing. His phone went dark. The quiet streets of Brookwood turned into a crime scene. Flashing lights, police canvassing neighbors, Elena's family arriving in shock. But Marcus couldn't hide forever. And when investigators began piecing together the timeline, the truth about what happened that night would emerge. Did Marcus plan this, or did he snap in the heat of the moment? The investigation would reveal more than anyone expected. The 911 call came at 10:12 p.m. Officers arrived within minutes, finding Elena already gone. The first question, where was Marcus? Detectives immediately flagged him as the prime suspect. Elena's breakup text provided motive. Neighbors had seen his truck. And there were no signs of forced entry. At 3:47 a.m., Marcus was found 40 miles away, parked on a rural back road, sitting in his truck. He was disoriented, muttering, I didn't mean to. I just lost it. Inside his vehicle, police discovered blood on his shirt and under his fingernails. On the passenger seat, a half-empty whiskey bottle. Digital forensics sealed the case. Elena's phone showed dozens of unanswered messages from Marcus in the days leading up to the murder. Pleas, accusations, even threats. One read, if you walk away, you'll regret it. Security cameras from nearby homes showed Marcus arriving at Elena's townhouse shortly after 9 p.m. and leaving less than 30 minutes later. Witnesses reported hearing his raised voice, you can't just throw me away, followed by a loud crash. Detectives pieced it together. Marcus arrived angry, Elena tried to push him out, and in the struggle he snapped. The fatal wound matched a kitchen knife found discarded in her sink. When interrogated, Marcus broke down. I didn't go there to hurt her. I just wanted her to listen. She kept saying it was over, and I lost control. But would a jury see this as a crime of passion, or cold-blooded murder? The courtroom battle would determine Marcus' fate, and whether Elena's death was seen as impulse or intent. The trial began in June 2022. The courtroom overflowed with media, neighbors, and Elena's grieving family. The prosecution painted Marcus as controlling, jealous, and dangerous. They argued he couldn't stand losing control, so he lashed out violently. They presented Elena's breakup text as the spark, but insisted Marcus' behavior showed a pattern of obsession long before that night. The defense countered with a different narrative. Marcus was heartbroken, intoxicated, and overcome with emotion. It wasn't premeditated, it was a tragic, impulsive crime of passion. Witnesses testified to the volatile nature of their relationship. Elena's sister, Sophia, shared the chilling words Elena had spoken weeks before. If anything ever happens to me, it'll be Marcus. The jury deliberated for 2 days. In the end, they rejected premeditated murder but found Marcus guilty of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Elena's family wept. Marcus' mother sobbed uncontrollably as he was led away. Brookwood, once quiet and safe, would never be the same. But behind the verdict lies a deeper question. Why? Why do some people turn love into possession, and possession into violence? To answer that, we need to dig into the psychology of obsession and crimes of passion. Crimes of passion are not new. They often share the same root causes: jealousy, fear of abandonment, loss of control. Marcus Hale fit the profile. He grew up in a family where control equaled love. When Elena tried to leave, it wasn't just rejection to him, it was annihilation. His identity, his pride, his sense of worth were tied to being with her. Psychologists call this pathological attachment. To Marcus, Elena wasn't a partner. She was possession, proof of his value. Losing her felt like losing himself. The breakup text wasn't just a message. It was the ultimate wound to his fragile ego. This doesn't excuse the crime, but it explains why some people explode in violence when love ends. For them, rejection isn't temporary pain, it's a life or death threat. Sadly, Elena's case is not unique. Studies show nearly 50% of intimate partner homicides occur at the point of separation, when one partner decides to leave. It's the most dangerous moment in an abusive relationship. Which raises the haunting truth: Elena's murder could have been prevented if the warning signs had been taken seriously. So what lessons can we take from this? And how should we reflect on a love story that ended in blood? In the end, Elena Vargas wanted freedom. She wanted to breathe. She wanted a life without fear. But her goodbye became her death sentence. One text message. One man's inability to let go. One night of violence that stole a daughter, a sister, a friend. And all because love turned toxic. Passion became obsession. Obsession turned deadly. Elena's story is a chilling reminder that the most dangerous place for many isn't a dark alley, it's their own home. The most dangerous person isn't a stranger, it's the one who claims to love them. If you're listening to this and recognize yourself in Elena, know this: leaving is dangerous, but staying can be deadly. Seek help. Tell someone. Don't ignore the signs. Because love should never cost your life. If you found this case chilling, subscribe to Dark Passion. Every week, we bring you true stories where love meets tragedy, and passion meets bloodshed. And remember, sometimes the scariest words aren't whispered in the dark, they're typed into a phone, one text at a time.